Welcome back to Man Down Sports, man. As you can see from the thumbnail, we're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns, but we're going to talk about some other things after we get into this Phoenix Sun versus Warriors game. It was a good game. Warriors made a run in the fourth quarter. Well, actually, they really made their run in the third quarter. I think they put up about 40 points in the third quarter. So Phoenix Suns gave up a lot of points in that third quarter. Um, but most of that was due to the Warriors getting to the free throw line like uh, constantly and consistently. So I talk about the free throws and the fouls and the physical play and what I seen in the game. But first and foremost, if you're watching us from Facebook, head over to YouTube, hit the thumbs up, give us a sub over there if you're not subscribed and all that stuff. Make sure you leave comments as well, man, because we like the engagement on the channel. Yeah, definitely leave your thoughts on there as we continue to go ahead and drop content. But so the Phoenix Suns, the Warriors, this was a game that the NBA scheduled for opening night, and it was supposed to be some fireworks because two things happened. Two things was supposed to, they knew this was going to happen. Kevin Durant, that was going to be his first time playing in front of the Warriors crowd since he left Golden State. He went back one time when he was with Brooklyn, but it was when they didn't have any people in the audience because of COVID. So this was his first time playing in front of the home crowd. And they gave him a standing ovation and a tribute and all that stuff. So that was big. But also this was like CP3 facing his old team in Phoenix. And, it was a little bit of controversy with him leaving. So that was supposed to be a little bit of drama and all that stuff, man. So you had all the fireworks at the beginning, which was good. So the game, it's two teams, it's playoff teams. They both are potential contenders and all that stuff, man. So the game itself was supposed to be a good game, and it was a good game, right? So Bradley Beal didn't play, Draymond Green didn't play, so we didn't see put neither one of these teams at full strength. And then both of these teams are going to be a lot better come All-Star break than they are right now because they're still gelling. Like the Phoenix Suns, like overturned their entire roster almost. Like they got so many new pieces. Not Manubo, but Bobo, Goodwin, Eubanks, Bradley Beal. I mean, the list goes on. It's just like so many new people. I think Booker and KD might be the only one, and Okogie, Booker, KD, Okogie, and maybe one or two other guys might be the only ones that's still there from last year. And then losing Jordan Poole and adding CP3, and then bringing in some new guys as well for the Warriors, and plus Kuminga getting thrown into the mix a little bit more. That's gonna be a little bit different for the Warriors as well. So, what did I see from this game? First and foremost, the physical play on Kevin Durant. The last 3 years, I think it started in that Milwaukee Bucks series when they played in the playoffs, and PJ Brown was really playing Kevin Durant real tight, real physical. That was letting a lot of stuff go. Now, this is not something that you normally saw, not even when he was with OKC, definitely not when he was with Golden State, but with Brooklyn, you didn't see it too much in the regular season. But that game, that series against the Bucks, Kevin Durant, not PJ Brown, but PJ Tucker, they went at it. But Kevin Durant was at the height of his, even though it was after his Achilles, he still had a lot of spring. I think he was still into his prime. I think he's a little bit past his prime now, but then he was still in his prime. This was 3 years ago. Had a lot of spring in his jump and a lot of bounce still. He still got a good elevation on his jump shots and his threes. And he was kind of unbothered by all that physical play, regardless of how bad it was. Now, he gave PJ Tucker 53 one game or something like that, and it was almost a triple double. And supposedly, if his toe wasn't on the line, he would have eliminated the Bucks, who ended up winning the championship, right? So it seems like since that Bucks series, when they seen that Kevin Durant, no matter how physical you get with him, that he was overcoming it and still being Kevin Durant, it almost seemed like they allow it now on Kevin Durant. Like, it's almost like we expect him to be able to overcome that. Plus, he don't complain about the fouls. So we just gonna allow it to happen. So we seen it with the Bucks, and then the very next season, you don't see it all season at all. And then when he got in that first round against the Boston Celtics, Ime Udoka instructed his players, whether it was Grant Williams, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Robert Williams, Al Horford, Marcus Smart, all of these dudes was allowed maximum contact, maximum physicality on Kevin Durant, and he just played through it. He'll ask for a foul every now and then, but for the most part, he don't go to the podium after the game and talk about it. His coaches don't go talk about it. Like, Phil Jackson would not allow you to beat up Shaquille O'Neal. They used to do Shaquille O'Neal like that a lot, where it was like, it don't matter how hard you foul Shaq, he can still play through it and get his 40 to 50 points or 30 to 40 points, 28 points. He can still get that stuff. But Phil Jackson still made it his business to go to the podium after the game and say, my guy's getting fouled every time he touches the ball. They're allowing X, Y, and Z on him when he's in the paint. And I'm looking at this, and he's only got 5 free throws at the end of the game. Right? That's the type of thing that Phil Jackson would do after the game. And then the next game, Shaquille O'Neal will get a more favorable whistle. No one has ever went to the podium that coached Kevin Durant and asked for more of the whistle, and Kevin Durant hasn't done it either. As a matter of fact, I play for you when they asked him about how they defended him tonight, and this is how he responded.
Hi, Kevin. It's not one of your nights, but how do you think of the Warriors' defense on you, and how does it feel to play against your old teammates?
No, it was great defense. I think they did a good job of just showing bodies, being physical. And that's what they do. That's the hang they had on this defensive side of the ball. And we still was able to weather the storm and get a W. So just keep building from here.
So I mean, that's how he talks about it. They played good defense. It was physical. That's the most he'll say. He'll say it was physical, because I can see in his head that he wants to overcome this. He wants to. I want you to play me that physical, because I wanna build myself so much as a good player. Whatever challenge you throw at me, I want to overcome it. So he's never shied away from, okay, you can keep fouling me like that. So they did it in the Bucks series. They definitely did it in that Boston Celtics series. It was horrible. The amount, like, every time he handled the ball, there was hands in his chest or waist, or forearm in his chest or waist. In the post, the same thing. Like, they allowed as much contact, as much physical play on Kevin Durant as possible. And on his dribble to the rim, they're allowing a bump. And he's not that big of a guy. He's slight of frame. So he's driving. If you're allowed to bump me off my path, right, that's an advantage to the defense, especially on a guy that's 7 foot dribbling, and that ball got to travel all the way from a 7 foot chest waist area all the way to the ground, while you're all the way up in my midsection with your forearm, and you're allowed to bump me. Like, that's a huge advantage, right? That's a huge advantage. It won't work so well on LeBron, but just because of his body type. But for Kevin Durant, that does a big difference. And if you're not going to call that, you're gonna give an unfair advantage to the defenders when they defend Kevin Durant. And that's what they did in the Boston series. And they don't do it every game for Kevin Durant. Of course, probably 75% of the games he play in, he's gonna be the biggest star on the team. And then, if he's playing just an average team, of course that average team not going to get the calls over him. But when he's playing someone who's equal to him, like a team that's equal to his team, like the Warriors or Nuggets, or a star that's equal to him, like a Jokic or Steph Curry, it seems like, all right, man, for entertainment purposes, we need this game to be, close or back and forth. And it just seemed like, hey, look, man, we just gonna allow you to foul Kevin Durant, because he's still gonna get you 20 to 23 points, even with those that physical play, which I hate that. And that's what I seen from the Phoenix Suns against the Warriors today. I mean, they was killing Kevin Durant. I'm like, man, this is ridiculous, right? He shot 5 free throws, only 5, and he probably got fouled, man, at least 25 times, and they wasn't calling it. They just wasn't calling it. So that's the first thing I seen. But they still pulled the win out. Devin Booker was unreal. I talk about him last because another person that was unreal was Josh Okogie. I think he had 17 points. He was the third leading scorer. Booker had 32. Kevin Durant had 18. Josh Okogie had 17. He hit a huge corner 3. And that was one of the things that Denver Nuggets in the playoffs was able to do against Phoenix. Even though Kevin Durant and Devin Booker was like shooting lights out in the first 2 to 3 games in that series, I think Booker was shooting like somewhere in the 70% range, from the field. He wasn't missing. Threes was like, he was shooting like 55, 60% from 3, 70% from the field. Free throws was like 98, 94, 95%. That dude was unreal the first 2 or 3 games, right? Kevin Durant was above average. I wouldn't say he was unreal. He was good. But other than that, I think they probably got one good game from Ayton. But that was a struggle from there. The bench couldn't provide them points. The bench couldn't get knock down open shots. And the way they was doubling Kevin Durant when he got the ball, which is what I hate, what Kevin Durant's been doing the last couple of years, is trying to get too much offense from the dribble drive from the top of the key. He's got to find some ways to move without the ball and maybe run through a couple of screens and get some shots that way. But when he was doing that, they was loading up on one side. So they would have one guy getting away with as much physical defense as possible on his dribble drives. And then when they call for the screen, they'll probably be doubling off the screen. And even if he got past that first wave, there was a third guy waiting for him. So the way they defended him was just real crazy. And when they swung the ball to the corners, you would have TJ Warren, Josh Okogie, Ish Wainwright, or a guy like that just couldn't consistently knock down that open jump shot or that open 3. So it looks like Okogie has really been in the lab all summer long working on that, and he hit a huge shot. He was a starter tonight, and he played great defense. His hustle points was there. He got 4 offensive rebounds that led to points. A lot of defensive plays, catching stuff off the rim, putbacks, strong defensive rebounds. I mean, the dude was all over the place, man. So shout out to Josh Okogie for doing that. I think he's going to be real good for the Phoenix Suns moving forward. He going to be a key piece. And same thing with Nurkic. Oh, man, 14 points, 14 rebounds. So Grayson Allen started in the place of Bradley Beal, and he didn't score. But off the bench, I think Eric Gordon got you 10 points. So you had 5 guys in double figures. You had Booker with 32. You had KD with 18. Josh Okogie with 17. Yusuf Nurkic with 14. And Eric Gordon with 10. That's not bad. 5 guys in 5 starters. If you want to call Eric, he played starter minutes, but Grayson Allen was the starter. But you got 5 guys in double figures. That's good. And then Watanabe came off the bench, and he got close to double figures. I think he maybe had 8 points. He hit 2 threes, a couple of layups, man. So he, and played some good defense as well. So he was a key piece. But Yusuf Nurkic, the difference between him and DeAndre Ayton is, and I think Charles Barkley may have said this at halftime. He said that Yusuf Nurkic is a guy who can score, but he's a guy that mentally, if he's not getting the shots, he's okay. That's different from Ayton. I think Ayton might have been overqualified for the role he needed to play with Phoenix. I think Ayton can score, and he wants to score. So when someone wants to score and wants to get shots, when you're playing with 2 superstars like Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and now you add a third all-star in Bradley Beal, so you got 3 guys that's definitely going to get majority of the shots on your team, especially on the starting five. And you got Ayton, who's supposed to be there to block shots, rebound, do the dirty plays, take charges, make nice passes, and every now and then, if we see a mismatch, we'll go down low to you, and you gotta be able to provide us something down there in the post, and we want you to rebound, right? And you got to be happy with it. I don't think Ayton was happy with it. So I think mentally, and practicality, Nurkic is a better fit for Phoenix, and he was cleaning the glass. I think he was in double digit rebounds before halftime, right? So he had 10 rebounds at halftime. I think he ended up with 14. So 14 points, 14 rebounds. Played good defense. It was all over the place. Made a key shot down a stretch off of Devin Booker assist. All that stuff was fantastic, right? That stuff was pretty good. So I like that for Phoenix. A lot of people complained about them not having a point guard, and it did kind of show. I think Devin Booker had about 6 turnovers. Kevin Durant had 2 turnovers. I didn't like Eric Gordon when he was handling the ball because some of his passes were just lazy. You could tell he hasn't played point guard since probably high school. You know what I mean? So he's not used to that. Some of his passes just didn't make any sense. So yeah, I mean, someone who's been a point guard for a long time, who has it, like ingrained in them. Yeah, that'd be a good fit. But there's a way to fix that though. Like you can install an offense, or you can install packages that don't revolve around a point guard making the play, right? Like Denver Nuggets. They could survive without a point guard. I mean, you can say that Jamal Murray don't even play like a point guard, and you can say that Jokic plays some point guard. Even Aaron Gordon plays a little bit of point guard. He'll run a break every now and then. He bring the ball up. So you don't really need a conventional point guard. Same with the Warriors before Chris Paul got there. They didn't have no conventional point guard either. They had an offense that had a lot of player movement, a lot of ball movement, and then they still had Draymond Green that was able to do a little bit of point guard duties while Steph was off the ball. So they can do things like that. They got the shooters, they got the players, they got players that can play without the ball and move without the ball. So it's not that big of a deal that they don't have a pure point guard like some people think. But just to get to the Devin Booker piece, 32 points. 8 assists, 6 rebounds, key buckets down the stretch, key assists down the stretch. I think he assisted on 2 threes and 1 layup down the stretch that kind of sealed the game. Devin Booker is a superstar, right? And we kind of gotta start acknowledging the fact that he's a superstar. And the Phoenix Suns, that's his team. It's not Kevin Durant's team. That's Devin Booker's team, man. That dude is unreal, and he's better than a lot of people that the NBA media will have you think that are better than him, like Luka. Like, I really think Devin Booker is a better basketball player than Luka Doncic, 100%. That's my opinion, right? Which leads me to the top 10 that we've been talking about a lot the last couple of weeks, because I think ESPN put out their top 100 list, Bleacher Report, The Ringer, all these guys put out their list, right? So I'm gonna give you my top 10, right? But before I do that, I want to play for you how Stephen A. Smith reacted to The Ringer's top 10.
There's a list that's taking place right now. The list is all over the place, and this list is about the top 10 players in the NBA. And there's been several lists out there. The latest is by The Ringer. The Ringer consists of the one and only Bill Simmons with the Bill Simmons podcast, Rob Mahoney, Michael Pena, Chris Ryan, Justin Verrier, these guys. I don't know most of them. I do know Bill Simmons. I've been a guest on his show. He's been a guest on here. Really appreciate him, the work that he does. Wishing him nothing but the best with his success. But I don't know what the hell they talking about with some of these people on this list. Let me just say that right now. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. All right. Now, Nikola Jokic, This is their top 16 players, okay? It's a top 60 list. I ain't reading you the whole 60, okay? That's irrelevant. I'm really focused on the top 10, all right? Well, let me give you their top 10. Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler, Devin Booker, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Those are the top 10 players. They are rated above Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, Damian Lillard, Jamal Murray, Donovan Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox. First of all, to Bill Simmons and his crew. Respect y'all, respect the work that you do. Bill Simmons, you know we cool with each other, brother. You don't take this personally, but this list, what the hell's going on? I mean, you know, you live in a high life, you're making a lot of money, you got a lot of success, and, you know, I don't know whether you drink, I don't know whether you smoke, but I do think you need to be tested after this list right here. Come on, bro. Come on, man.
This man accused this man of smoking or being drunk when he made this list. And I mean, there's a lot wrong with all the lists that has come out this year, but it's a lot wrong with every time they do a list, there's a lot wrong with it. And that's by design, right? You know, if you put out a list that everybody agree with, that there's no conversation, right? If there's no controversy behind your list, it's not the content that you really want to put out there. Now, I'm not saying that I would put out something purposely to spark a debate. But you know, for people that make content on the level of a ESPN or Bleacher Report or The Ringer, you know, they're not going to spend all this time having people on their payroll come up with these lists, and then they're going to print it out and they're going to put it out just so somebody can look at it and be like, oh, okay, that sounds about right. Right? They're not going to do that. So they're always going to have someone way too low and someone way too high, right? So they can make most of the list make sense, but long as they strategically pick people that's going to cause an uproar. And for the longest, for the last 2, 3, maybe 4 years, the person that they feel like gets the most traction when they slight them is Kyrie Irving. Right, I've seen Kyrie Irving on certain lists as low as 66. So they're saying it's 65 players in the NBA better than Kyrie Irving. On that same list, they had I want to say 10 point guards ahead of Kyrie Irving, and I'm talking about point guards like Trae Young, Jamal Murray, Drew Holiday. I think they even had some Brogdon and some. You know, they had players like that ahead of him. They had a lot of point guards. They had 10 point guards ahead of Kyrie Irving, and 65 players overall ahead of Kyrie Irving. Right, so they'll do things like that, and then they'll put Luka as high as number 3. Right, so it's always a lot of controversy. So anyway, here's the big thing for my list this year. This is the first year that me personally, I'm admitting and I'm saying that Nikola Jokic should be ranked number 1. Now, am I saying that I think he's the best player in the league? No. I'm saying that under the circumstances and under the rules of the NBA and how the NBA game is played, the top dog and who's performing like the top dog is Jokic right now. So I would agree with their top 3. Jokic 1. I would even say Giannis is 2. No, I would say Steph Curry is 2. I would say Giannis is 3. Right, and I'm not saying that that's my order of who I think the best player is. I think the best player in the NBA is Kevin Durant. However, he can't perform like it for some reasons that I mentioned earlier, but I won't mention it again. It's just he's kind of like he's handicapped a little bit. He's playing an uphill, or he's fighting an uphill battle. Like, he don't have the backing of the NBA to help him succeed or to help prepare him or protect him. Jokic does. Jokic has the protection. Jokic has the ultimate star call card. You can't beat him up. He's a player that they're marketing. So they're not going to allow him to get embarrassed or none of that stuff, right? So when it comes to how you can defend him, it's not going to be you're not going to get away with anything illegal against Jokic. You got to defend him straight up, right? With Kevin Durant, you can get away with scratching, holding, biting, pushing, slamming, punching. You can do that stuff to Kevin Durant. So that's gonna kind of handicap what he can and can't do. So as far as performance and who's performing the best is Jokic hands down. It's Steph, number 2. At 3, I said Giannis, but I kind of want to think about this because it could be Embiid. I'll go with Embiid 3. I will go with Giannis 4. 5, I'm going Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker is that good. I'm going Devin Booker at number 5. Right? He's a complete player on offense. He can do it with and without the ball. He can do it on the perimeter with and without the ball. He can do it on the fast break with and without the ball. He can finish from the mid. He can finish in the paint. He can finish from the free throw line, mid-range, 3-point. He can come off screens. He can post up low, mid, and high. He can pass. He can handle the ball. It's literally nothing this man can't do on offense with or without the ball, shooting or scoring on the inside and mid, right? And you can't send him to the line and think that that's going to help hold him back. So offense, he's got a complete game. Defense, great competitor on defense too. He's a good defender, almost a great defender. He almost has no weaknesses. That's how good Devin Booker is. I like to put people as high as possible that has the least amount of weakness in that game. I have a little bit of reluctance to put Giannis that high because he has such an incomplete game on offense due to his lack of shooting and lack of a lot of other things too. But his results and what he's able to do and dominate with how raw he still is, I gotta make the exception to have him up there. But and then both sides of the ball as well, I make the exception for Jokic because he leaves a lot to be desired on the other side of the ball on the defensive end, but what he does on the offensive end makes up for it. So I make the exception for him as well. Steph is complete, Embiid's complete, Booker's complete. That's my top 5. I got 2 guys that I feel like not complete with Jokic and Giannis, but they're too good not to be that high. So that's my top 5. Then from there, I probably would go KD at 6, LeBron at 7. KD at 6, Tatum at 7, LeBron at 8, Kyrie Irving at 9, Anthony Davis at 10. That's my top 10, right? Kawhi is deserving to be up there, but for now I'm going to leave him out and until I can see what he can do coming off that knee injury. I want to see what Kawhi can do, but he's just as good. He's been a top 5 player for the last 6 or 7 years. So Kawhi's that good as well. But that's and after the 10, I got Kawhi and Lillard and guys like that. But my top 10, that's what it is. It ends with Kyrie and AD at 9 and 10, LeBron at 8, Tatum at 7, KD at 6. Right. So that's my top 10. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. But that's how I see it. Speaking of Luka, and if you notice, I left Luka out of that 10. Right. You just can't be a player that don't play defense and then also don't provide anything on offense unless you have the ball in your hand. Right. For especially for a perimeter player. Right. So you're a perimeter player. You know, the job description for the perimeter player is, one, you need to be able to do something with the ball, but when you don't have the ball, you also still have to be effective. And he's not. Right, he's not. He doesn't offer that much without the ball. He don't offer that much on defense. He only offers you something when he has the ball. Right, so yeah, I can't reward that play. I would even have SGA above him, which brings me to this next piece I wanted to talk about. SGA was getting interviewed, and they asked him about how they're going to be running their offense this season in OKC, and this was his response.
The way you guys want to play offensively, all five guys can dribble it, pass it, shoot it. That doesn't work quite as well if you're not willing to be off the ball some and not have the ball as much in your hands. What's been that process for you? What's made you willing to be that way?
The best teams, like the best teams that have played the game, the teams that have won the most games, won the most championships, they play together. I don't know if you saw Last Dance, the documentary, but there's a point in Michael Jordan's career where he had to learn the triangle offense and playing with not the ball in his hands 24/7. So if Michael Jordan has to do it, I definitely have to do it.
Look, it sounds like somebody been listening to the Man Down Sports on YouTube, because I've been saying that for years, right? And even Kobe Bryant has been saying that he's on record saying that it drives him and Phil Jackson crazy watching the current NBA and seeing how everything is about high screen and roll, dribble, drive, and kick, or dribble, drive, and layup. And he said that's all it's about. You get your best player the ball, you play 5-man out basketball, and your best player is making all the plays for everybody and all the plays for himself. And it's just a bad way to play. It looks good. It gives that player a lot of stats. He's going to be high on the assist total, high on the point total. But what it also does is, it sustains you for the regular season. But when everything slows down and you get in those best of 7 game series in the playoffs, and teams are sitting there locking in on you, and they only got to scout one team for a whole series, the scouts and the coaches and the players are too good to sit there for 7 straight games, if it goes to 7 games, and not be able to figure out a player that's running high screen and roll all game long and making a play for himself and others 4 quarters in a row. And then when you play like that, what happens when you go sit down and rest on the bench? If you're playing an offense that relies totally on you, you are the single point of failure. What happens when you go sit down? You either got to have a player that's better than you or just as good as you that can run that same offense, or you got to have 2 separate offenses, one for when you're on the floor and then another offense for when you're off the floor. Right? You can't run a system that's just catered around Luka and then have Luka go sit down, and then you're trying to run the Luka system without Luka. How to make that make sense? That's just like me saying we're going to implement the read option for a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, but I want his backup quarterback to be a pocket passer like Peyton Manning. So now when Lamar Jackson get hurt, you got a quarterback, you got Peyton Manning out there running the read. Either he gonna be running the read option, or y'all got have separate 2 separate offenses. So when you have a player like Lamar Jackson, you need a backup like him as well that can be able to run that same offense that you installed. So same thing in basketball. If you're going to run the Luka system, you got to have another Luka to run it when Luka's not on the floor. And it's probably not another Luka, right? So it's not going to be Luka. It's going to be a different system. But now they bring in Kyrie Irving. He's so good. Well, maybe Kyrie can do it. So when he's on the floor with Kyrie, when Luka and Kyrie is on the floor together, Kyrie sit in the corner, wait for catch and shoots while Luka do his thing in the 5-man out offense. But whenever Luka can't do his thing, they expect Kyrie Irving to be so good and so efficient as a scorer that, hey, I can get you points right now in this possession. I sit back here and be out of rhythm all game while Luka do his thing and get in rhythm. But if he so happen to have an off night, boom, I need to be able to click that. I need to be that good where I could just be able to click and then start scoring until Luka be like, all right, I got it. Let me take it back from you. So I do that. And then when he goes to the bench, now I can be myself. Now Luka's on the bench. Now I got about 4 minutes where I can do my thing. That's what they want to do in Dallas, which is the dumbest thing in the world. But you heard what the question was asked to SGA. He said, y'all are trying to run a system in OKC where everyone can make a play. Everyone has the freedom to dribble, shoot, pass, and make plays for each other. But in order to run an offense, he said, SGA, you're going to have to come off the ball and not have it so much. Are you okay with that? And his reply was basically, yes. The teams that win, he's been studying MJ, Phil Jackson, and Kobe. He's been talking to some good people. Somebody is in his ear with common sense. He said the teams that win play our offense where it's more team ball and everyone can make a play for themselves and others. And if Michael Jordan had to come off the ball, then so do I. If Michael Jordan had to come off the ball, if Phil Jackson came in and told Michael Jordan, I know you were averaging 37.7 rebounds and 7 assists by playing point guard, but I'm taking the ball out of your hand and you're going to learn this triangle offense. If you can tell the GOAT that as a rookie coach, a rookie head coach, this is your first job, you're going to come in and tell the best player in the league, I'm taking the ball out of your hand. So all those stats you fell in love with, those stats are like witchcraft. It's a trance. It's a powerful drug. It's stats are a powerful drug. The style of offense that Luka plays and James Harden played and Westbrook played and sometimes LeBron James played and obviously Michael Jordan was playing early in his career, that ball dominant offense is one hell of a drug. And it's hard to take a superstar off of that drug. Phil Jackson successfully did it. He told Jordan, I'm taking you off the ball and you're going to learn this new offense. And SGA said, if MJ had to do it, then who am I not to? And that's the approach that Dallas needs to take with Luka. You're 6'8", you're 240 pounds. There's no business for you to be my point guard. You're the slowest guy on the court. On both teams. Like if it don't matter what team you play. When you get on the floor, Luka's going to be the slowest guy. You could be playing Denver against Mavericks. Jokic is faster than Luka. So I would go to Luka and say, you are the slowest guy on my team. I know you can pass your behind off. I know you can pass. So can who can pass? So can freaking Sabonis when he played for the Portland Trailblazers. This doesn't mean I'm gonna let him run my point. Just because you can pass don't mean you run a point. Chris Webber could pass. Vlade Divac could pass. Tony Kukoc could pass. Peja Stojakovic could pass. There's a lot of Europeans that could pass. Ginobili could pass. Just because you could pass doesn't mean I gotta let you be my point guard. You're 6'8", you're 240 pounds, you're the slowest man on the court, and you can't even guard point guards. Why are you playing point guard if you can't even defend a point guard? So now you're putting me in another situation where, okay, my point guard can't guard point guards. So that means whoever my shooting guard is has to be able to guard point guards. But my point guard, if my point guard is Luka, guess what else he can't guard? He can't guard shooting guards. So now my point guard can't guard point guards. So my shooting guard got to guard a point guard, but my point guard can't guard shooting guards either. So that means my small forward has to be able to guard shooting guards. Now my point guard can go and guard a non-scoring small forward or a small ball power forward that's a non-scorer. You see how much maneuvering you got to do? Now you have to have a lineup. Luka First of all, Luka can't defend really any position because he can't defend, but he definitely can't guard point guards. So they would start Luka at point guard and start Bronson, who is a real point guard in mentality and the way he plays and in size. Like he's a pure point guard. Like he's a real deal point guard. So now you got to put a real point guard at 2 guard because you want Luka to run point, but your real point guard is the one that's guarding the point guards. It sounds crazy, but just think about that. Think about the maneuvering you have to do just to let Luka play point guard. If you got to do all that, you got to think to yourself, why are we doing all that just so we can have this guy play point guard? It don't make sense. Just give the pure point guard the ball and let your best player figure out, look, you go get 30 shots regardless of what position you play. The offense going through Luka regardless what offense you play. So why do you have to be the one that's starting to play? Would you go start and end the play? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just too much maneuvering and it's unnecessary. He don't have to be the point guard. And but as long as he's playing that high screening role, I'm the point guard, 5 man out, is going to handicap your team because now any center that wants to be in the post or in the paint, you can't really play them. And that's why JaVale McGee and Christian Woods came there 1 year and left. They couldn't play in that offense. Like JaVale McGee came there and Jason Kidd promised that he was going to start. He got there and was like, well, we can't start somebody that can't shoot threes because if you can't shoot threes, then Luka's not going to have any pass. He's not going to have any driving lanes to the hole. If I got a center like JaVale McGee in the paint or on the post, that clogs up the lane and now Luka can't drive to the hole. We need our big men to be able to set screens up top and fade into a 3-point shot because that helps Luka. And that's why they would rather have Maxi Kleber start at center and then come off the bench with Bertans. Because all they do is shoot threes. They would rather have Bertans or Maxi Kleber than have JaVale McGee, who's going to block shots, defend. He can even switch on screens and defend. He's still agile enough to defend a guard and do that well. And he's a lob threat. But now we need 3-point shooters. Imagine that. Imagine somebody being so good and you saying that he's a top 5 player in the league, but he can't play with a center unless he can shoot threes and stay outside the paint. So I can't play with a pure point guard because I'm the point guard. So you gotta be a catch and shoot player. They're trying to turn Jalen Brunson to a catch and shoot player, and now they're trying to turn Kyrie to a catch and shoot player, all because they can't play their position because Luka's playing it. And I can't play with centers that clog the lane. Just imagine that. It don't make sense. So back to SGA, man. He's explaining, yeah, we go play team basketball, team-oriented basketball. The ball's going to move, players going to move, and the ball's not going to stick in one person's hand, setting everybody up. That's boring offense. And that handicaps your teammates because they can't maximize their potential. If I got a player that can really make plays for himself and others, he's not going to be able to flourish and get an opportunity to do it because I'm going to be doing it all the time. Right? It's a self-serving offense that they play in, and people are impressed by it because they don't know basketball. They only know how to Google stats. Nobody can look at that play style and say, I can see where this will become a problem in the playoffs. I can see where this become a problem for your co-star. And I can see where this becomes a problem from anybody in the lineup with you that can make their own play, but they can't because they got to stand in the corner and wait for a pass from you. Just running that same high screening role offense where everything's about the one player, that James Harden basketball. That's got to stop. I can see right through that. That's bad basketball. So Hopefully the Mavs, and Luka see what the talent they got and see that they got Kyrie Irving, who's a real point guard, and say, we got to explore that and let Kyrie do his thing. And he's willing to not have to be a hog. He's willing to take a back seat and let Luka get the 30 shots a game. So he can actually really be a point guard where he's getting everybody else involved. Luka's going to get his 30 shots. He's going to get his 30 shots. Right? But he just got to trust the system and play in it and stop trying to micromanage everything and dictate everything on offense. Right? Take it. I'll be watching OKC and how they're playing, and I'm a parallel that with how Denver playing or how Dallas is playing. Hopefully Dallas takes Luka off the point guard, but as soon as I watch that and I see Luka is starting their point guard and he's their point guard, and I see that first tip off and Luka's running the offense, that's when I know they're not serious about winning. And I can already tell you that they go struggle this season, but Luka will put up great numbers, right? And then Kyrie will be the scapegoat and they'll blame him for it. And who knows? He might be on a trade block. It's going to be very hard for them to find someone to be a co-star with Luka and build a team around him until they take him off the ball. He has a Paul Pierce body. And somewhat of a Paul Pierce skill set. He will be perfect in the role that Paul Pierce played in the Big Three in Boston, where Rondo was the pure point guard and Rondo ran the offense and Rondo got everybody else involved, and you had a shooter like Ray Allen running off screens and getting catch and shoots from this pure passing and Rondo. And that allowed Paul Pierce to say, well, look, I'm just going to be a straight scorer. I'm just going to be a straight killer. I'm going head to head with LeBron, or I'm going head to head with Kobe. I'm gonna get him 30 and 40. It's not my job to come and bring the ball up court, set the offense up and do all that stuff. No, my job is to give you 30. And then I'm gonna go on the other end and I'm gonna guard Kobe and I'm gonna guard LeBron. Now I get to concentrate on that. If I had two things that because your body is your body and you don't want to wear yourself out, especially for a guy like Luka that's already halfway not in shape. So if I had to take a choice on what I want to expend most of my energy on, it's going to be scoring and defending. But players that play that style that Luka plays always take all their energy and put it on scoring and running the offense and getting assists, and then they rest on defense and guard the non-threat. Whoever the non-threat is on the other end of the court, that's who they'll guard so they can rest on defense. Instead of concentrating on locking down the best player, I'm going to guard the least player so I don't have to get in foul trouble or expend that much energy because I'm doing and they got an excuse perfectly built in. I'm doing everything on offense. I'm running the offense. I'm the point guard and the primary scorer and the primary facilitator. Like, I got to rest somewhere. So that's their excuse. I'm doing so much on offense. I'm resting on defense. That's their excuse. Well, common sense will tell you there's no such thing as resting on defense. Everybody's supposed to be giving 110% on defense. And if you're my best player, I expect you to be involved in stopping the best player. You can't be my best player if I can't even use you on defense to stop a player. If I got to hide you on defense because you're that bad, if you can't guard your own position, why would I reward that player that's not giving a shit on defense by saying, hey man, the whole offense is in your hand. Every shot that's taken is coming off your assist or you deciding to shoot it yourself. Why would I reward that player and say, you're the face of my franchise, here's the keys to the limo and you drive it? Nah, I tell a player like that, look, you go get 30 shots, but you're not running my offense. I'm not about to sit here and let you get triple doubles up the yin yang just to pad your stats, man. No, I'm not gonna do that. And that's what they're doing in Dallas, man. If they don't wake up and smell the coffee, they're gonna have a season like they had last year. Last but not least, of course, the Warriors lost tonight. Of course, Draymond wasn't playing, and of course, CP3. This is his first game, and they still got some gelling to do. But we got to call a spade, man. It's over, man. They will get better, right? CP3 will fit in. They'll figure that out. Everybody will start locking in and playing great basketball, and they'll start beating some teams, and they'll go on the road. They're too smart, too high IQ, and too good not to figure that out, and they still got Steph Curry. So they'll figure it out, and they'll look competitive. They'll be competitive all season, right? As long as they're healthy. But, I mean, we got to be honest, man. Their issue is their loyalty to the big three. Not the big three, but the core three of Draymond, Steph, and Clay. Because Draymond, number one, does not deserve that contract extension he got this summer. And whatever contract extension Clay is asking for next year, he's not going to deserve it. I mean, he hits enough shots every now and then, but at this point, he is somewhere close to a Kyle Korver or somewhere close to what Ray Allen was when he was in Miami for his last championship with LeBron. He's not a legit number two right now. So actually what's going on in Golden State is they don't have a number two. They definitely got a number one with Steph, but they don't have a legit number two, right? This is the same reason why Giannis wanted to make a move in free agency or in the trade, because he knew he didn't have a number two. He knew Middleton coming off that injury was not what he was anymore, and we don't know if he's going to get back to his all-star form. So he's not even a legit number two, and Drew Holiday definitely wasn't a legit number two. And Giannis knew he needed a legit number two, especially how he got put out by Miami, and they made it look easy. He knew he didn't have the championship roster. He wanted a legit number two. Everybody wants a legit number two, not a de facto number two. You're my number two because we don't have anything better. Not that guy. That's what Klay Thompson is. He's the number two because they don't have anything better. But in his mind, he's still Klay, and he's still part of the core three. So nobody that they bring in, unless it's somebody like Kevin Durant, that's a top 5 player that's undeniable. As soon as you get on that team, I'm either like, even Kevin Durant was so good, he came in and, even though the offense was, kind of revolving around Steph, because that's how it was before he got there, we all knew that the top dog was Kevin Durant as far as scoring. Right? So Kevin Durant was so good, he showed up and he did not just leapfrog Klay, he leapfrog Steph as well. Steph was his number two. Now that's what a legit number two looks like. Right? Kyrie and KD, that's a legit number one and number two. But Steph and Klay right now is not a legit number two. Steph is a number three at best right now, and he can't bring it. I've yet to see it. It's over. They made a mistake by sending Jordan Poole away. Last year was the best opportunity for Golden State to get off of those contracts of Draymond and Klay and move on with Steph Curry and a new team built around him. And Poole was perfect for him. Poole is the number two that could have been moving forward with Steph Curry, not Klay. The loyalties was too strong with the core three of Draymond, Klay, and Steph. Too strong. And it's going to bite them in the butt, man. It's going to bite them in the butt. Their goose is cooked, man. They cook. Just like Barkley said, they're cooked. So I monitor that. Like I said, they're going to still get better, and they're going to continue. They're going to look good because they're too good not to figure it out and look good. But as far as them going somewhere in the playoffs, they should have got put out by the Kings last year. If the NBA didn't step in and start to call the games a little bit in favor of the Warriors, the Kings was sending them home. All right, so they luckily got past that, but they didn't get far after that. They didn't go nowhere after the Kings. Their true color showed, and that was with Jordan Poole. Now they don't have Jordan Poole no more. Right, so They're gonna soon find out. And what I really love, and I can't wait to get up in the morning and listening to the Golden State Warriors, is a radio station I like to listen to, man. And they got some guys on there that are brutally honest. They're fans, they love their Warriors and stuff like that, but they'll be honest and say, man, we probably should have kept cool. They'll be honest about that part. Right. So I can't wait to hear them tomorrow talk about Golden State and this loss that they just got handed to them by Phoenix without Bradley Beal. Right. And they were down by 20 at one point. 18, I think. 18 or 20 at one point in this game. Right. So that's going to be interesting to hear them talk, man. Basketball season is back. I'm glad I get to discuss some basketball and stuff. Like, man, it's gonna be a good season, man. I'll catch y'all. I will be covering Phoenix this entire season, so pre-game, post-game, stuff like that. I will be bringing a lot of Phoenix Suns content. So stay tuned for that. And if you are not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, man. Especially if you want to hear about what's going on around the Phoenix Suns this season. I will be discussing those things, man. So hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment, and let me know what y'all think. I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.